Welcome back. Thank you for joining in on another video. Today, we're going to talk about openers. Before I get into that, if you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe to this channel. That way you can get every notification about this channel that lets you know when I post a new video, which I'll be posting them Wednesdays and Fridays. Fridays are going to be where I dissect a speaker and give you some insights to why they did well, what they didn't do so well, to help you be able to get better at public speaking. And Wednesdays are when I launch my podcast, so the video version of that podcast. So I hope you subscribe so that you can stay up to date and learn more about public speaking. But let's go ahead and get into this video where we'll be looking at this speaker, Justin Cooper from the National Speech and Debate Association. We'll be talking specifically about the opener that he does in his speech here. Now, notice here how Justin walks across the stage. He gets called on stage and walks across. He doesn't walk fast. He doesn't walk super slow, but he simply walks to the center stage, and there he looks out at the audience, kind of creating his presence, showing that he's confident in himself.
As P.T. Barnum once said, always leave them wanting more. Thank you.
He opens up with a powerful quote and then proceeds to walk off stage, literally living out that quote, which I think is really cool that he does that, and then asks the audience,
What? Was that too abrupt?
what are you looking at? What do you want? You want it more, actually? So really getting that audience engaged right away with a powerful quote and then taking some kind of action that's very unexpected.
I'm sorry, I'm not so good at endings. It's not only in speech, though. My goodbyes get pretty weird in real life, too. I mean to go for the handshake, the fist bump, the bro hug, the kiss, the rock, paper, scissors, the Fruit Loops, the jellyfish. I mean, I personally try to avoid high-fiving goodbye because a poorly timed high five is a real slap in the face. But I guess it's all a matter of knowing how to say goodbye.
He shows examples of what goodbyes are and really creates this whole awkward moment and makes you think about the times that you say goodbyes and how sometimes they are really awkward, just especially depending on the people that you're talking to. So he does a really good job of helping you realize the different types of goodbyes, the goodbyes that you probably say to different people, and creating this whole awkward situation that we'll see here in a minute, more of why he is creating that awkward situation, but he's setting himself up very well here in the beginning of his opener.
Goodbyes. What are those? Seriously, what are those? According to the Pew Research Center, over 80% of American adults feel that they don't know how to deal with goodbyes and avoid them at all costs. The thing is, goodbyes are unavoidable. From watching the last episode of a TV series to leaving a group of friends for the night, we're constantly reminded that nothing lasts forever, and we'll inevitably have to say goodbye. And although the struggle of saying goodbye to a TV show may seem trivial, when we lose the ability to quit a dead-end job, leave an unhealthy relationship, or cope with the death of a loved one, we're left feeling unhappy, incomplete, and even absolutely stuck.
I like here as well that he gives a fact. So he states some data, some statistic, and gives you that, but then also his opinion as well. Because when you are a speaker, people are looking for your opinion. Yes, you want to give some facts. Obviously, you want to tell the truth, but also your opinion as well, which helps you distinguish yourself from somebody else, because anybody can go on stage and spit out a bunch of facts, something that's very truthful, but giving your opinion is what people really want to see and hear from you. And that's what sets you apart, because that's what makes you unique.
It's time we say goodbye to this age-old dilemma. We'll begin by examining the cultural origins of goodbye and how they translate into the modern era. Next, we'll explore how much we risk losing when we lack a proper goodbye. And finally, we'll find a path towards a better goodbye.
And then he makes a great transition from what his opener is to actually going into his speech by telling you what he's going to talk about. That's a great thing that you need to do in a speech. Obviously, open, capture people's attention, and then let them know what you're going to tell them about. That's how a speech structure typically is. You let them know what you're going to talk about, what you're going to tell them about. You talk about it and tell them about the process, the things that you're telling them about, and then you recap at the very end. That's how a lot of speeches are structured. And it's great that he does that by telling you what he's going to tell you.
You know, they say the two worst things in life are saying goodbye and recycling jokes. Thank you.
And I wanted to add this little ending, or really the beginning of his speech, where he actually wraps back into the very beginning where he created the same joke, which is really funny and really corny as well, but my kind of humor for sure. But it's really cool how he actually tied it all back into the very beginning of how he started as he goes into the actual part of his speech, which to me is a great thing. Create some humor, helps re-emphasize what was already said, which is something you want to do as a speaker to be able to help people really get the point that you're trying to come across. Now, some things that he didn't necessarily do well, as we saw, he did go out, he came on the stage. Obviously, you kind of have to do that. But when he stayed there, he stayed at the center of the stage and barely kind of turned left, turned right, and everything like that. He did walk off the one time, and there, as he started his speech, when he repeated the same joke and everything. But for the most part, he stayed there in the center. So that's one thing, especially when you're on a big stage, you need to move around, use that whole stage. When you're behind a camera like I am right now, obviously you can't move out of pain. It's kind of weird, especially if you're sitting down. But if you're standing, you can move a little bit more, but still you're on camera. The camera's not moving. If the camera can follow you, that's a different thing. But when you're in front of an audience, they can follow you, just like the camera. They can move their head and they can follow you. So you want to make sure you're going to the different sides of the stages to capture those people's attention, because if somebody's getting closer to you, you're going to pay more attention to them. And when they're further away, you may pay a little bit less attention, but that way you can capture the audience's attention. So that's the only thing I really saw that I would say he needs to fix. I mean, some of his hand gestures, sometimes he kept his arms down by his side for too long. It was kind of awkward, but he was kind of playing on the awkwardness anyways. So maybe that was part of what he was trying to do. But using those hand gestures is a great thing. He did use a little of those, but that's just something that I saw and stuck out to me. But if you want to hear more about these openers, about speeches and how to get better at speaking, make sure that you do follow this YouTube channel. Make sure that you're following me, hitting that bell so you get the notifications whenever I post a new video, which I do every Friday to talk about different aspects of a speech and really critique somebody on their speech to help you understand and have that direct application to be able to get better at speaking yourself. But with that, you guys, you go out there, try and create your own speech, critique yourself. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of this video, and have a healthy and blessed day.